Al-Alaq, the volume of currency in circulation exceeds 100 trillion dinars. Quote, today, we have more than 100 trillion dinars in circulation, issued currency, not all of the money supply, and reserves of more than $100 billion, which means that the central bank has achieved an important basis for monetary stability, explaining that inflation is the basic measure of the central bank's ability to perform its mission and basic function. It is less than 3.8%, which is considered a typical percentage that actually achieves stability and prosperity. Question: what do you think the rate is going to be, Mark? Marks: just a guess, but I think it could be $3.91. Television is saying now the currency auctions were a mistake and the dinar should be linked to a basket of currencies. They say it's the best thing for our economy. Frank, this monetary reform education is off the hook, isn't it? They're telling them constantly. It won't stop. When they give the new exchange rate, it will float and reach the real effective exchange rate. The monetary reform education right now is so wonderful. The forex markets are really liquid markets. Iraq is going to have a relationship with that in a not too distant future. Emo, what's going on with these bank centers? This is another reason why they are sending the citizens of Iraq to these centers right now, in order to learn how to use these currency exchange centers. Brilliant. I got some wonderful news, and I have spoken to paymasters and bank officials. The green light has been given. We are just about to cross the finish line, the codes have been locked in, authority has been given, and by next week we will be celebrating. We have 1,000,000% assurance it is now all coming through. I know everyone has been waiting for their currency notification that should come in with the grace of God, after the election results on Tuesday the 5th of November. This has come from official channels. Money exchange buildings, there's hundreds of them inside of Iraq, and there's hundreds of them outside of Iraq. There are exchange centers and there are private banks that represent the CBI all over the world. I never said it was definitely going to happen one way or the other, drop the zeros off the currency before they change the rate or after. What I'm saying to you is be aware that these two things are there because you might wake up one morning, hear the rate changed happened, you're excited, but then you find out too that the deletion of the zeros took place. Distribution for Iraq's retirees' salaries tomorrow Sunday. They will be paid for the month ahead. They do have a holiday coming up and wanted to pay ahead of time. What could be another reason to pay them ahead of time? The revaluation of the dinar to lift up the Iraqi people. That's what I was thinking. Qusay Saddam seized $900 million and loaded it in trucks in 2003, central bank governor. Quote, after 2003, we inherited an abnormal situation devoid of any real basis for stability. Our reserves that year were $900 million, and they were seized by Qusay Saddam Hussein and loaded onto a truck. This is documented by dates and numbers. So we started from scratch. The money supply in circulation was only 4 trillion dinars. Today, the volume in circulation exceeds 100 trillion dinars, and our reserves have exceeded $100 billion. They're maintaining control of the general level of pricing, they're controlling inflation, reducing both in the management of monetary mass. Reducing the monetary mass, what does that do? If you take money out of the system, there's less of it, you have more value. They're reducing the money supply. Inflation rate was at 7.5%, now it's down about half of that, 3.8%. If they reduced inflation by almost 50%, then wouldn't that likely be reasonable to presume that they reduce the monetary mass about the same amount? It sure seems like it. Al-Sudani congratulates Al-Moshadani, we renew the legal and constitutional commitment to support the supervisory role of the House of Representatives. The optics are great for the country because they have all three presidencies in place at this stage. You're going to see some of the language that's going to be used by one of the presidents. Now there's 3, the new guys has already done a good job. He knows the ropes, his past history dates back a long time. 2003-2004 in that year. It's over, the country has a new Speaker of the House of Representatives. Congratulations to the legitimacy of the government. Membership in the World Trade Organization allows access to international trade policies. Despite the economic policies that Iraq has adopted over the past 2 decades in terms of international openness and the pursuit of establishing modern economic and legislative rules, attempts to obtain a seat in the World Trade Organization have not succeeded so far, noting that Iraq obtained observer status in the organization in 2004. The financial advisor to the Prime Minister, Dr. Mazar Mohammed Salih, said, "The Iraqi economy lacks regulatory and supervisory regulations in the scope of trade relations and international requirements according to internationally approved standards.